That was an unbelievable game of basketball. That was an absolutely unbelievable game of basketball there. From the new reality. From Miss Reality herself. And if you're wondering why I call her Reality, because you know what? Taurasi told her that reality is coming. She is reality. She is reality. Because she's coming and she is one of the best players already in this league. Did she take the league by storm and make a mockery of the league and destroy everybody straight away? Like some people not expected to happen, like some people who didn't understand the league thought was going to happen? No. Is she better than AJ Wilson? No. Is she unbelievable? Yes. Before we get on to it, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit probably, like, look, if we can hit 14.6k by the end of the day, that's incredible. But if we can somehow, by the end of today, like, I know, obviously, it's currently the 1st of July where I am. And if we can, by the end of today, get to 15k, like, my goal was 10k by the end of June that I set, like, 10 days ago. Like, 12 or 13 days ago, I'd set that goal. If we could hit 15k, it'd be insane. But we've never seen a rookie like Caitlin Clark. And the reason is, like, we've seen really good rookies. Is she the greatest rookie of all time? Candace Parker was better as a rookie. But I'm just going to show you guys this. Because this is so important to this whole game. So hopefully this loads. That kind of screws up the point that I was trying to make. But what I'm trying to say is, like, at this position right here, she had a pretty decent first half. So, with 7:54 to go in the third, the score is 56 to Phoenix, 38. Scores 56-38. She does kind of a hesitation move. Score. They score a 3. Caitlin Clark comes down, hits Kelsey Mitchell on a 3. Bang. Then the next possession, or in a couple of possessions later, still 53. Caitlin Clark goes and hits from the logo. It's a 5-point game. 53 or 55-48. I had that there. And this is the one possession where I'm like, there's never been. If you watch this possession right here, if you know what happened just before that possession, you can see the score still says 53-48. It was so quick. The second the ball went in, she was inbounded the ball. 1, 2 dribbles. Christy Wallace is running with her. Diana Taurasi is wondering, like, what the hell is going on? Diana Taurasi literally thinks Christy Wallace is on the wing. She has a layup. And that is a play that they got. How many points did Kate Martin score off that? How many points did a Fulter score off that when they were playing with each other? How many points did these players score off Caitlin Clark? Just, the ball would be, they'd get a score against them. Inbound, run. You run, you score. And this is just what I'm talking about when it comes to Caitlin Clark, is she has not taken over the WNBA yet. But we have never seen a player like her. We have not seen a player like her. And I'm going to talk even more about, she is going to, if you surround Caitlin Clark with, I'm telling you, you've got the pick and roll partner in Leah Boston who's getting better and better in that. The 2-man game they're playing is starting to work better. The second quarter was a lot of it was a 2-man game. But if you surround them with runners, if you surround them with players that run and play defense, because when the Fever are getting stops, they are unguardable in transition. All from her. She is the best point guard in this league right now. And again, I watched nearly every Aces game. Chelsea Gray, healthy, fine. Chelsea Gray's about 50% right now. I don't care about a hypothetical. I don't care. She's been out for a year. You never know how someone's going to come back from an injury that's been out for a year. So I'm not going to talk about hypothetical and what Chelsea Gray used to be. What Chelsea Gray is right now is not as good as Caitlin Clark. Sabrina Ionescu is not a true point guard. Van der Sloot's playing point guard for them. What Van der Sloot is right now is not as good as Caitlin Clark. What Natasha Cloud is right now, it showed today, not even in the same sentence as Caitlin Clark. Natasha Cloud is really good. Not even in the same sentence. Jackie Young's a 2-guard. Ionescu, again, a 2-guard. You're looking at these teams, and you want to talk about who the point guards are in the WNBA. And I'm going to rank every team's point guards from worst to best. I'm going to rank them all right here. So if you want to look at the teams, the Atlanta Dreams point guard is... Jesus, off the top of my... Oh, right as I draw a freaking blank on the first team. Again, I've drawn a blank on their point guard. The Dallas Wings point guard is Arike. Arike is not a point guard. Arike is a Sabrina Ionescu playing there because she has to. Chicago Sky's point guard is Lindsay Allen right now, or Dana Evans. Neither of them are good point guards. The Las Vegas Aces point guard, Chelsea Gray. He's better. The Connecticut Suns point guard, it's basically Alyssa Thomas. It's basically Alyssa Thomas. You could maybe argue Alyssa Thomas probably even better if you want to argue her as a point guard, but they run through a point forward. The LA Sparks point guard, they've been running random point guards for a year. Heck, I wouldn't say Lexi Brown was starting point guard. No. Minnesota Lynx, Jesus, I'm drawing blanks here. But again, I like Van Loo. The Seattle Storm have Skylar Diggins-Smith, who's pretty decent. Like, if you're looking at all the other all-star level guards, Caitlin Clark's the best of them. She's the best of them. And you can see with this team, when they start playing the running game, it frees up everybody else. She's not the best scorer in this league, by the way. She's not going to put up 30. I think she could give you 25 in any given game, but she's not going to put up 30. Today was not a good shooting game. The fact that in a not good shooting game, it says here she has scored or assisted on 44 of the Fever's 88 points. If you don't realize, they don't count if you give the ball to someone for a layup and they get hacked. You know the Katie Lou grabbing around the neck? That was 2 free throws and a possession that they scored from? That was from a fast break pass from Caitlin Clark. Aaliyah Boston, any of the free throws she hit were from pass. A lot of the free throws she hit were from passes from Caitlin Clark. The amount of times that Caitlin Clark would pass it to somebody inside and they would, like, it happened 2 or 3 times where Aaliyah Boston might have missed a layup, or Melissa Smith missed a layup, caught their own offensive rebound and went back up with it, or caught their own offensive rebound, passed to the other and went back up with it, off Caitlin Clark assisting the original pass. Obviously, they don't show up on the box score. They don't show up in the box score, but if you're watching the game, you can see the playmaking. She's the best playmaker in this league in a certain situation. She is not the best half-court playmaker. There are better half-court playmakers than her. Like, again, like a Vandersloot is a better half-court playmaker. She's a better half-court playmaker than Caitlin Clark. But the way that she pushes the floor is like something we have never seen before in this league. There has never been a player that has done that. Just like there was never a player in the WM or in college ball that played ball like Caitlin Clark did. And a lot of people are talking about the deep threes. Like, look, she hit 2 of them today. As bad as she was, she hit 2 logo threes. You still want to see that. Even if she goes 2 of 10, you still get to see the spectacle of logo threes. But you're now starting to see a team that's really fun to watch. Are they the best defensively? No, they're not. But you're now starting to see a team that's really, really fun to watch. Because at the start of the game, they were terrible because of the way, I'll talk a little bit about it in a Christy Sides video, in the fact that they went out with a tactic of putting a point guard on Aaliyah Boston so they could switch everything hard. They didn't blitz really to start the game, they just switched hard on everything. And they couldn't really take advantage of that. And once they started going into Aaliyah Boston, they fought their way back into the game. They clawed their way back into the game. But it's so obvious when you're watching how the game's going on, when you're watching the speed that she plays at. And it's not even on her feet, because she's not the quickest. She is Steve Nash type player. Like, Steve Nash is the best player I could point out, because Steve Nash is not the quickest on his feet. He's not the quickest point guard there's ever been, but he just played at a constant pace. I remember talking a while ago, Dave Severance, who was involved with that team as one of the coaches, he did like a coaching clinic in my club. And thankfully at the end of it, there were like, any of the coaches that were in the club were allowed to stay on to just talk with him. And I was the only one that really cared. But it was like listening to him talk about Steve Nash and how he was able to run the offense. And it was not about how fast he was. They were like, oh, the team played so fast. And it wasn't because the players were faster. It was because they just played at this constant tempo. When a ball, you saw in that pass to Chrissy Wallace, the other team they hit a shot. And instead of stopping the run, they went on a run from stop and fast break. Instead of stopping the run, they literally 1 foot out of bounds, launched it to Caitlin Clark, ran, layup. Like, that is what you got to do. If you surround Caitlin Clark with a bunch of runners, like, she seems to have this inability to get tired on the floor. If you put a team of running defenders, and I know you're probably not going to get Dejanay Carrington, you're probably not going to get some of these players to Indiana, but if you can just find these players, if you just look at college basketball and you just find runners, you find track stars that have some ability to play basketball, and you draft them with them 3rd round picks, and you put them around Caitlin Clark to play defense, and it's just run, run, run. That's why I was so shocked that they got rid of Celeste Taylor. She is the system. She is the system. Look, you don't have to be the best player. Like, I know some people would have argued in some of those years in Phoenix, Amari Stoudemire is the better player. That's fine. That's fine. If you want to argue Aaliyah Boston will end up being the better player, cool. But the system has got to be Caitlin Clark. If you do not use Caitlin Clark, use the one thing she does better than everybody else. And you can see it, every time the team goes on a run, it's because the team gets stops and runs. That is every time. Other than the Atlanta Dream game, where the Aaliyah Boston post masterclass worked. Every time against a good team, this team has looked competent. It is because they are running. When you are not this super team, in a super team league, when you've got a young team with poor vets and you're in a city like Indiana who has never been able to attract free agents, you've got to zag. Just like what Lisa Bluter did. She changed everything she knew about coaching when she got Caitlin Clark. She's like, well, we don't have a bunch of superstars. We don't have 5-star recruits, but we've got her. Let's change our entire system to make her stand out as much as possible and to take advantage of her gravity, and make sure all the players that we have who are disciplined, willing to work, and will cut, let's take advantage of them. And that is what you do in Indiana, but you can do it on steroids because these players are much better. Like, Aaliyah Boston's 100 times better than Monica Sanano. You've got players that are better on the wings than every single player on that Iowa team. You can find a Hannah Stolke type player. You can find these players around. Obviously, the one who's a free agent that is just there for you right now is Nalissa Smith's, what we believe is Nalissa Smith's girlfriend. So there is potential there. But purely basketball-wise, we've never seen a player like her. And the shooting hasn't translated. The scoring 40 points has not translated. That's probably not going to translate because of the gravity that she draws. But at the same time, she is the best playmaker in this league. She is the best full-court playmaker in this league. And a system built around her with a good coach and players that know to cut and run and play defense, like a Temi Fagbenle. Heck, you know who's starting to get it a little bit? Christy Bleepin Wallace. I don't think she's good. I think she's terrible, but she kind of gets it. And this is a team where, that's why I was so annoyed about Demiris Dantas, because she just does not suit. She just doesn't fit at all. You build around her. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. No more of this, Caitlin Clark needs to fit in. No. Your team's not going to win any games zigging. Your team does not have enough talent. You're Indiana. You're never going to be able to get enough talent to be a competitive team. Tamika Catchings is not walking through that door. But what you have is Aaliyah Boston, who's really damn good, but is probably never going to be in that top 2-3. She's going to be in that like tier below the best post players probably for the rest of her career. She's never going to be in that Aja Wilson tier, Nafisa Colley or Breanna Stewart, the top tier. But she can be in that second tier. You're not going to win building around a second tier player. But Caitlin Clark has near endless potential. If Caitlin Clark ends up not being injured, she is going to be in that conversation for greatest player of all time. She is. And the team, as much as anything, needs a new coach. You need a new coach. You don't need to tear everything down and fire everybody this year. You can build over the next 2, 3, 4 years. Heck, if you don't make the playoffs this year, it's not the end of the world, because there's a good chance you're either going to get Kiki, who's a really good fit, you're going to get Morrow, who's going to be a good fit, or you're going to get Paige Beckers, who's actually going to be a really good fit. For people thinking Paige Beckers won't be, Paige Beckers literally decided to play the one on offense at times, to guard power forwards at UConn. And she's a much better half-court player than Caitlin Clark. And she's going to play defense. She's going to run. She's going to win. She's a hell of a winner. All these players are winners, by the way. For people being like, oh, these players aren't great. No. Aaliyah Boston was a winner. Caitlin Clark is a damn winner. To drag that Iowa team, almost like an female equivalent to what Larry Bird did 40 years ago, she's a winner. Paige Becker's a winner. You can find winners. You can find winners who play winning basketball. And then, again, just because a player, for example, went to a UConn or a South Carolina and was on a super team and just happened to win, doesn't necessarily mean that these players are winners. You don't need to look at who has won previously. You've just got to find people that will play a style of basketball that will win. And I'm telling you right now, we've never seen anything like Caitlin Clark, and it's a big reason why they're so scared of Caitlin Clark. It's a big reason why a lot of people are like, oh, she's not that good, turnovers, this, that. Her teammates aren't necessarily that used to playing with her, but you can tell when it goes well. You can tell when this style of play is working, that it's going to continue to work. It's not going to work this year. It might not work next year. But by the time they're 25 years old, if the right pieces are put around Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, they are both MVP candidates. And this is going to be this is a team that teams are going to have to learn to play against. We saw how much the Mercury just could not guard the pace. We've seen the Storm not being able to guard the pace at times. You put the right pieces around her, and Aaliyah Boston in that half court is one of the right pieces. Teams will not live with the Indiana Fever. Just like brilliant college teams. South Carolina, one of the greatest college teams of all time, could not live with Iowa. Iowa. When you surround her with better players that know what they're doing, run and play defense, I'm telling you, we've never seen a WNBA team play like that. Everyone's talking about it being a post-centric league. Nah. Everyone said you couldn't win with jump shooting till the Warriors, and now every team does it. People are saying you need your post players, you need your centers to build around them in the WNBA, just like they did in the NBA all those years ago before Jordan, or before even Magic Johnson half the time. Heck, the Showtime Lakers. People are talking about the Nash and Amare, and that worked well with the pick and roll. The Showtime Lakers. You had Magic Johnson running the show, runners all around, and when things didn't work out in the half court, give it into Big Kareem. This is going to be as close as you've seen. This is going to be the Showtime Fever. And if you commit to being the Showtime Fever, even if Caitlin Clark does not average, if she does not average her 25 point a game at any stage in her career, if she's not scoring like you would expect her to, if you commit to being the Showtime Fever, you're going to fill out every single gym for the next 10 years, and the league's going to grow. Other teams are going to have to put together something to compete with the Showtime Fever, and you're suddenly looking at a more attractive brand of basketball, and the league, the momentum the league's getting right now, is going to blow up because there's going to be so many teams just run and gun. It's going to become this run and gun, really interesting style of basketball, not this slow down physical game. They can't mess this up. This team can't mess this up. The league can't mess this up because she's as good as advertised, and like, not only that, she's as fun to watch as advertised. And you can see when this team runs how good they can be.